as per historical view, what's the difference between Rajputs and Kshatriya? Is it right that modern Rajputs are descendants of white Huns, Scythians, or Shakas? If not, where are these communities gone? Okay, so first of all, there is no difference between Rajputs and Kshatriyas. I mean, Rajputs are Kshatriyas. Kshatriya is the Kshatriya uh, part of Indian society is traditionally the people who have been warriors as their primary occupation, and the Rajputs were that. So the question of the origin of the Rajputs is very much open today because there's no research being done about this. See, the Indian historians hate the Rajputs because because they represent the best of Indian society. They were very brave. They were glorious. They were valorous, and they defended India for centuries. I mean, look at what happened in Persia. The the demographics and religion of Persia changed completely within a couple of decades after the Arabic invasion of Persia. Just within 20, 30 years, the entirety of Persia was completely transformed. It had become an Islamic country, as we know very well. Now, when these Turkic, Arabic, etc., invasions of India happened, India resisted for centuries. And the spearhead of the Indian resistance, the great shield of India, were the Rajputs. The Rajputs defended India for centuries. They were unmatched in their bravery and valor, and also to some extent in their stupidity because they allowed people like Mahmud of Ghazni to get away with his life twice at least. But the Rajputs, despite their failings, despite their lack of unity, etc., they defended India stoutly. They shed more blood than any other people in defense of the motherland. And that's why the Indian Marxist historians hate the Rajputs, and that's why their accomplishments are always denigrated or not spoken about. And that's why there's no research been done into the origin of the Rajputs. So there are three different uh, schools of thought. One is that they are descendants of the white Huns, the Shweta Hunas. The second is that they are descendants of these Scythians, the Indo-Scythians, who were again descendants of ancient Indians. They were Mlechas. And there is a third school of thought, which said that the Rajputs are Indo-Iranians, Indo-Sassanians. So we don't really know what it is. So, for example, let's take the Chavda dynasty, for example, because that's something I've researched because of my own personal interest. So this is an ancient Rajput lineage. So there is one. So the oldest records of this dynasty uh, come from ancient Indian records, the Prabandha Chintamani, etc. And the British have recorded this in English. So, according to one version of the British history of the Chavdas were the descendants of the great king Nahapana, who was a Kshatrapa, who was a Scythian, an Indo-Scythian king. He was a very great king. He is mentioned in the Greek account called the Periplus of the Erythraean Sea. So he was a very great ruler, but he is not spoken about. I mean, no one in India knows about him today. So, according to one version of the British history of the Chavdas are descendants of this king Nahapana. According to another version, which you will find in the Numismatic Museum in Mumbai, it says that the Chavdas are Indo-Sassanians, which means that they are Indo-Iranians. Now, again, the Iranians are essentially part of the same ethnic group as the Indians, although most of us don't know that. So that is another theory. And there's another thing as well, another data point. One of the oldest references to the Chavda dynasty is the Sri Chapa dynasty, which is the old name of the Chavdas. So the oldest recorded king of the Sri Chapa dynasty was a king called Vyagramukha in Binnamal in Rajasthan. And this guy, the first recorded Chavda, was a first generation immigrant to India. He was a Shweta Huna. So he was a white Hun. So if this is the truth about the origin, then this Rajput lineage is of white Hun origin. Otherwise, it is of Scythian origin, or the third possibility is that it is of Indo-Iranian origin. So this is the kind of confusion we have today about the Rajputs. We have no idea what the truth is. Maybe it's a mixture of everything, but it doesn't really matter because we are all Indians, and even these Sassanians were of the same ethnicity as us. Even the Scythians were the same ethnicity as us. And we don't really know who the white Huns were. but they were clearly not Mongols or Turks. So it's all up in the air right now. We don't really know what the origins are, but it's a fascinating topic of research.